Hello and welcome everyone once again. Thank you for watching, and we haven't done a video in a hot minute, so I thought I'd jump on here and do a video on a couple things that are on my mind. Usually our videos are how to stay positive, how to turn your atmosphere around, how to cleanse your atmosphere, how to stay on a happier, healthier mindset. And I'll have to say, it is kind of hard right now with everything that's going on, with the stock market going down, with it being winter, with it being flu season, with the coronavirus on top of that, with all that combined, plus everyday life, it is really hard to stay focused on the positive outlook on things. But like we said before, there's always a way to turn that around. You hold the key to making your atmosphere as happy and as positive and as clean as you have the strength to make it. So, on that note, the coronavirus has been on the headline news everywhere you're going, no matter what state you're in, what country you're even in. It's there. A lot of people were kind of like, oh, it's just a virus in China, no big deal. And now it's coming closer and closer to home, depending on where you live, no matter where you live, really. So I kind of want to touch on that because it's really hard to kind of stay positive and healthy and happy when all that's happening. It's affecting our stock market, it's affecting our economy, it's affecting travel, it's affecting every aspect of our everyday life. If you don't watch the news and you're really not in tune with everyday culture, then you're just going on about your life. That's perfectly fine. The fact is, it's everywhere, and it's coming closer and closer to where you're at. So instead of being kind of in your own bubble, you do need to do a little bit of research and realize that this is something that's a little different than the average flu or anything else. That's been on the headlines of a lot of people saying, oh, it's just like the flu, no problem. Oh, we've went through SARS, we've went through the bird flu, we've went through anthrax, we'll be fine with this. And I would like to say, sure we will. I would like to agree to that. But in all reality, after you sit back and look at the big picture, this is a little different than all of that combined. I would say I would put this closer to the anthrax scare than anything due to the severity of it. I'm a firm believer that the government is not going to tell us everything that they know. A lot of stuff they can't tell us due to national security reasons. They have their own motives, they have their own reasons that if they told us, half of us probably wouldn't understand or like or agree with it. So they keep it from us. That's fine. In the long run, that probably has happened more times than we'd like to even admit. So after stepping back and kind of doing some research and looking at everything that's going on, it kind of makes you stand back and go, this is a little different. So I've noticed schools, public schools and private schools, are stepping back and saying, we're changing our attendance policies, so that way if your kids are feeling ill or if they think they have the flu or whatever, don't send them to school. Attendance policies are obsolete for right now. Do what you feel is the best. Keep them at home. For that reason. That's a huge step for a school district in many, many, many counties across the country to say that. The schools do get funding upon attendance policy. So for them to change that says that they're being very serious and taking this very seriously. Take a step further with colleges. College campuses are now saying, leading up to spring break is what we're coming to, we are not having any more school sessions. There's already colleges opting in, big colleges that are opting in and saying, we're doing everything from home from here on out until we figure out what's going on and how to take care of this. All these are public gathering areas, and that's one reason they're wanting to do this, because of the amount of people in one place. If one person's sick, it can spread. All these college students and kids are going to spring break. They're traveling all around, and then they're coming back home. So if they go somewhere that's infected and then they come back, it's going to be a bigger and bigger and bigger case. So college campuses are now saying, we're doing all schooling from home after spring break until we figure out more. That's huge. Sporting events. Sporting events are based off the revenue of the event of the season. Basketball, baseball, football, soccer, anything, the event is what brings in the money. So we have a lot of sporting events around our area and other places that are saying canceled. We're not postponing it for a week or two to see what happens. We're canceling it altogether. No event right now. Some big events that are happening are saying we're having this sporting event, but we're having no crowds. So no public people in the audience at these arenas. It's just the event that's going to be televised. Once again, it's a public place. They don't want to spread any worse than others. But step back and realize that if all these things are doing it, it's for a bigger cause than just, oh, it's like the flu. We have the flu every single year. Sometimes it's worse than others. We never do things like this, ever. If you go on from that, we just found out that I think in Chicago, the parade is being canceled because of this pandemic. So they're taking their events in these cities, these big populated areas, and saying, we're not chancing it, we're shutting it all down. So in my eyes, we're about 2 steps away from being quarantined completely across the nation. This started in China. China, a lot of things do start from there because they don't have the standards of cleanliness in the marketplaces that we do in America. They have chickens and animals in cages that you can buy out in public, and there's not a certain standard of cleanliness. So then it spreads to humans. And then from the humans, it turns into what we've had now, which is a pandemic. So everybody, especially in small towns and small areas, they're all like, no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. The president's trying to make it seem like it's no big deal. That's their job, is to keep us from panicking and freaking out and crashing the economy quicker than what it already is. That's fine. I honor that. But don't be naive. Don't be stupid sitting there thinking that everything's fine whenever you look at all the evidence and things are a little different. Be prepared. So the parades. Also, now companies. Offices that are... The companies like have office buildings for all the workers that come to the office every day. I just talked to a friend that lives in Florida. Big, huge company, and their offices are closing down. Any office buildings that have employees are saying no more. Go home for the next couple weeks until we tell otherwise and work from home. Do not come back to the office. And to come to the office, you have to notify the office and let them know. Same thing with the college. You have to notify them that you're coming to the campus to get your stuff. You have, I think they said, 1 hour to collect any belongings that you need to collect and then get off campus. So it's not a, if you would like to stay home and work from home or work from home for school, that's fine. It's mandatory. So the government has different divisions to take care of things like this, and they send letters out to companies and corporate offices and event centers to say, we are the government's controlling word on this, and this is what we're recommending, or this is what we're saying you have to do. So the companies then are rolling out their own newsletter saying, this is what we're doing as a company to be careful. In all reality, and most of it's coming from the government itself, stating this is what has to happen to prevent a bigger pandemic. Stores and companies on the store level are sending out memos now stating, you need to clean your bathrooms, your counters, your cash wraps, your door frames every hour on the hour. Coach your employees of how to wash their hands. So I've done this for the past couple weeks since this has all started. Taking Lysol, spraying all the doorknobs on the fitting rooms, the seats, anything people touch. The doors in between each room, like going to the back area and stuff, people touch that constantly, spray it. The keypads, Lysoling those off, using hand sanitizer. All that kind of stuff is just to help what could happen. It is flu season, so it helps with that as well. These are things that we could kind of do all the time that we never do. But this virus isn't killing people like the flu. The flu gets all ages. The elderly, the pregnant, the young are still at higher risk, but it still can get a middle-aged, healthy person. This, they're saying, is not as aggressive when it comes to young, healthy people. That's fine, but the scary thing is there's still no cure for it. They don't know how it works. They don't know it to the T of how it spreads or how quickly or how long it stays in you or how long it takes to show symptoms or exactly what all the symptoms are. They're saying they're a lot like the flu. So, the unknown factor is what's really scary to the government and to the population and to the cities and stuff, and I understand that. So it's not really the death toll, but it's also what after this. After the virus is in somebody, they don't know what it does. Kind of like the shingles. You get the chicken pox, and 15 years later, you're going to end up with the shingles, or more capable of getting the shingles. How do we know this virus isn't going to do something later on? We don't. If the government does have a cure for it, they're not sharing it with us. This is the exact same thought and process as chemical warfare on a nation, and we need to see it as that. What happens if that would happen? Because this is very similar to the same situation. So stores and companies are releasing memos of how to kind of combat the situation at store level. Also, public places like museums and attractions, and as soon as it hit in China, Disney closed down Disney in China, which is unheard of. They don't do things like that unless if it is absolutely necessary. Disney here in the US is keeping a very close eye on it, and they're taking very strict precautions so they don't have to shut down. But it's a possibility in Florida and other places to shut theme parks like that down. Also, airlines. Of course, the airlines are affected because of traveling internationally and in and out and all around the world. And you're taking one person from a clean area and moving them to an infected area and then back again. So, with all that being said, of course, airports are affected, but on an extreme level. The president's kind of stepped in and put his 2 cents in on what needs to happen and how they're dealing with things as far as international airfare, but it's already here. You can Google and look up a lot of maps, and they'll tell you, there's some live feeds that will tell exactly what counties and what cities and states and how many people are sick, how many people have died, how many cases they've had, to the T. If you watch that and how quick it grows, it's very alarming. I also talked to an individual that a family member of them just took a trip to Paris. I don't know if it's this week or last week. The flight to Paris, there was only 8 individuals on the flight. These flights hold 200 plus people, and there were only 8 individuals on the plane. They all got first class because there was nobody else on the plane. So if that's not alarming and a red flag, I don't know what is. I honestly don't know how the airlines have not halted certain flights, because I don't see how they're not even breaking even at that. I don't know how much fuel cost or how much the flight attendants get paid, but I'm going to tell you now, 8 people on a flight of that size, they're not even breaking even. And how is that business smart? Also, big companies are suspending all travel. Talking to another friend of mine yesterday, and their company had a meeting, and the president of their company has decided to suspend all business travel. So if you have meetings to go to, if you have to go and check at a different location, if you need to go and meet with people at a different location, if you need to do a tour of location, it's all suspended. No hotels, no flights, no traveling. They don't want workers coming in and out of different facilities. It's on lockdown. That's to secure the economy and to secure the well-being of that company. So That's coming from the president of that company on down. That's huge. They don't want their employees to get sick or their facilities to get, I guess, inundated with the virus, because then what happens? You're quarantining your associates and your workers and your managers and your district managers and your representatives, and it becomes a much larger issue. One thing that really shocked me was yesterday that happened. I was at a restaurant with a friend of mine eating, and we've been talking about different precautions to take at work and just in general, and what happens if, people do call in or people do get quarantined, and how do we run the business and different things like that. So we're discussing that, and as we're sitting there, we get our meal, and the place brings your meal out on a tray. Now, the workers don't wear gloves. They just hold the tray, they bring it out, sit the tray down. That's fine. We're sitting there talking, and behind him, I see an employee walk out, and they're wearing gloves, and they're collecting all the little flyers on the table stating the newest milkshake or whatever. And they're collecting them. And a manager was walking behind them, wearing blue gloves, holding a trash bag, collecting all those. I was like, well, that's odd. That's quite the way to collect these little pamphlets off the table. So my friend says, well, maybe they're expired, so they're pitching them. And they didn't realize they were expired. So I check on the pamphlet on the back. It doesn't expire for another month. I was like, I don't think that's the case. Okay, so we go on. A few minutes later, same kid, blue gloves, comes out. Same manager, blue gloves, new trash bag. And they're collecting all the salt and pepper shakers off all the tables. Now, at that moment, I got extremely worried, because this is midday lunch hour. This is something that they are clearly doing by precautionary measures, which is great. Kudos to them. But also is being directed in a certain way. It's not, hey, you go run out there and collect this stuff and throw it away for us. We're going to be careful. This was a company letter put out stating of how to collect this stuff and how to do this stuff. On top of that, the manager was on the other side of the wall telling the employee now how to sanitize each and every table. Not just wipe down the tables, but to sanitize the entire table, the edges, the seats, where you sit, the back, anywhere fingers touch. Sanitize. So once again, I'm happy that the company's taking precautionary measures on things like that. That's great. But we've heard that it is an airborne virus. So people coughing, things like that, that's how people are catching it. But I find it funny how, if you're on a plane and one person has it, they don't all have it. So then it's more of a virus on the hands, wiping your nose or coughing into your hands and then sliming it everywhere. So that's why they'd be doing things like that. Either way, the normal everyday flu, every year when we have an illness go around, companies, stadiums, businesses, airlines, restaurants don't do these things. And it kills more people. So that's a red flag. So, with all the schools, the colleges, sporting events, parades, offices, public events, sporting events, airlines, big companies, restaurants, all taking precautionary measures like this, I think it's time for us as Americans and us as citizens to own it a little bit. I think you need to step back and realize, what can you do to help yourself, help your household, help your friends, your coworkers, your family, to prevent it from hitting your family or your household. A lot of companies are not paying you for time off if you would get quarantined. Some people are changing the policies. If you do get quarantined, they are paying you. So you need to check into that with your management, your DM, and your corporate office. Prepare for that. If you look on Amazon, you go to the grocery store, you go to the Dollar Tree, they're sold out of any hand sanitizer, any cleaning supplies, anything like that. People are literally running into the hospital waiting rooms grabbing masks up and taking them with them. That's a state of panic. We can't find it on the shelves. We can't order it online. So they're going to the hospitals and scooping the supplies up and taking them home with them. That all is huge red flags. The government and the news is saying, oh, keep calm. We've got this under control. It's fine. Okay, but sometimes we can't rely on that because by the time they tell you, okay, shit's hit the fan, we're going to have some problems, it's too late. That's my belief. So, if there's no supplies on Amazon, no supplies in the store, you've got to prepare in your own ways. Cleaning supplies, look at your old school remedies. Vinegar. Vinegar is a great disinfectant, a great cleaner. So buy vinegar. Buy it up, dilute it with some water, and wipe down your doorknobs, your handles, your car, your house. Mop with it, wash your windows. It's wonderful. It's not poisonous. Baking soda. It's another thing. Bleach, if you have bleach. Put it with some water. All those home remedies, start looking at those and trying to get supplies of that degree so whenever everything else is out, you have something. I feel like if this does not get taken care of before long, we will go into quarantine. They're going to do a nationwide. They're trying not to cripple the economy, which I understand. They're having meetings on how to help companies if they have to shut down, how to help them with tax breaks and things of that nature to cushion the blow. But if you look at the stock market, they had to pause the stock market yesterday. Freeze it. Allow no trading for 15 minutes just to let everything even out before it tanked. That's huge. The panic's already there. People, investors, they're already doing their thing. Before long, I'm afraid that it's going to get to a point to where they're going to close everything down. Stores, gas stations, everything down for 24, 48 hours. Quarantine everybody, hoping that that will kill off the virus or stop the spread. But I don't know if 24, 48 hours is going to really do anything because they don't know enough about the virus. So that's why I say prepare with canned goods, prepare with waters, prepare with all the things you need to stay home for a couple days. These people on the cruise line, they were quarantined for 20 days on a cruise. Now they're being offloaded into a tent, which is being removed to another place. So all of that being said, it is kind of, you have some kind of power in your own hands to do certain things, and you need to take that initiative. Just like we have the power to be happy, to change our home, we have the power to prepare ourselves for the worst of the worst. Alexa, next. I didn't like that song. Once again, you hold the power. So one thing that we can do, though, and I think this is where we need to stop and think a little bit. Instead of panicking about closing everybody down and the economy, why don't we stop and say, if we do close everybody down, the economy can still thrive. Every single store that you know of, especially the major stores, are online ordering capable. They'll either deliver it to your home or they'll deliver it to your car in the parking lot. So why does not Walmart, Target, Sam's, Costco, all these massive companies that have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people in a building at one time, eliminate and say we're halting all foot traffic into stores? Make your online orders and we can deliver it to your car. Or make online orders and have it delivered to your house. That, in a way, still quarantines people, keeps them out of the groups, and yet the revenue's still coming in like crazy. They can focus the staff on picking the items, delivering the items, instead of sitting at the checkout, cleaning the store, helping customers in the store. The jobs are still there. The income is still there. But the groups of people, that's why we're shutting down schools. That's why we're shutting down sporting events. That's why we're shutting down parades. but we're still going to Walmart and Kmart and things like that. So we need to think about the full spectrum of what to do, how to do it, to keep the economy going, to keep everyday life going, but at a healthy point. This is a great, great, great hindsight of what happens if a terrorist or another country wants to attack us with chemical warfare or biological warfare. This is exactly the same ramifications that we're going to have, just intensified a couple more levels. So take a bright look at this and see what's happening now, how it's affecting us, what we need to do, and how life can still go about it every day. Spring break is coming up. I'd advise not to go on a trip if you are older, pregnant, or extremely young. It's too much of a risk. They're already telling certain kids at certain colleges, if you go to certain places, certain travel locations are saying, if you come here, if you take this cruise, when we release you, you have a 14-day quarantine automatic, period. So all I'm going to say is don't rely on the news, don't rely on the government to tell you when to panic, because they're not going to. That's their job. They're not going to give you all the information because that's their job. But I guarantee you, if you're in the military or if you've been in the military, you kind of see it a little different. And if you kind of look at the broad spectrum of what's going on and how it's going on, you see it a little different. So, here at home, we're relaxing, we're staying indoors, we are saging the house. Sage, like we said before on other videos, sage will clear bacteria out of the atmosphere, kill bacteria out of the atmosphere, kill odors out of the atmosphere. It equalizes the pH balance in your home. Sage is a natural cleanser for your body and for your home. Buy sage. Go get sage. Order sage. Guarantee you sage is probably not sold out everywhere. Get it. You can let it burn for like an hour and just let it do its thing. You can take it around and actually sage and cleanse the atmosphere of your home. It's wonderful. Vinegar, baking soda, bleach, all wonderful. You don't want to keep your house like a hospital because you want your immune system to stay strong and be able to fight and combat the normal stuff. But I'm telling you now, take the time to do your diligence, do your research, and understand that you have to take some initiative. Don't wait for somebody to tell you to take it. Because if you're waiting on the government or your local authorities to tell you, it's going to be too late. So with that being said, I hope everybody is healthy and happy and wonderful out there. If you have to go to work, take precautions, use the cleaners, spray it down, get everybody on board, stress how important it is, wash your own hands. If you catch somebody blowing their nose or doing something, sanitize. Clean your hands. Go to the bathroom. And then be more responsive of what is being touched. Doorknobs, the door itself being pushed versus the doorknob. Keypads for the alarm systems, the light switches. So many things we touch. Your keys, your phone. I was at work yesterday and I took sanitizer and I cleaned my phone really good. Your credit cards. All that kind of stuff. Start thinking about that. So you're not going to bring it home. Many, many places didn't have it. And it's coming more and more and more. So that place said, oh, we don't have it. We're not going to get it. They have it. They're getting it. People are dying. So get on, Google some of the maps that tell you, or apps even, that tell you the up-to-date results of what counties. It's not just what states. A lot of places go, oh, well, Illinois only has two cases. But what counties? How close are they to you? Is that person coming over your county grocery shop? So think about it. Do your research, look into it. Make your home your haven. Disinfect it, clean it, watch some good movies, have some good hot tea or some wine, and just enjoy life. It's not the end of the world yet, but last thing you want to do is be quarantined or make other people ill or hinder an elderly person, pregnant person, or infant. So stop and think about others, not just yourself. And so I wish you all the best. And we might, if anybody on here has any home remedies of how to clean, use it. Anything you do, use it. Any information that you want to throw out there, tag us in it. And with that, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to go curl up in bed, watch some Netflix, drink my tea, and hope that the corona doesn't come up in this household because I'm ready for it. I'm going to fight it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good afternoon.